Come on, Jimmy, get them
footers.
together. That was Tyler Kolek, by the way.
Justin Tubb.
19 threes in the night set a new franchise playoff record.
Wow.
The Knicks get a 39-point win.
Knicks on one right now.
Yeah, their 2 largest wins in franchise history have come in back-to-back games. That's what they're on right now. That's what they're on. They're the first team in NBA history to win 3 straight playoff games by at least 25 points. Let's hear from Nick Nurse, who was caught in the crosshairs on this one.
I know that wasn't any fun. It wasn't any fun to sit there. It wasn't any fun, to be a part of, to be honest, and watch. But it's 0-1. Doesn't really matter if it's 6 points or 36 or whatever the hell it was. It's 0-1, and we got to wash that one away and get back. And we're gonna have to find and provide much more energy and physicality and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
So a 39-point loss for Nick Nurse and the Philadelphia 76ers. Let's start with the good, Melo. Let's start with the good. The Knicks. Before in the pregame show, we said it's a little bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. We've seen a Knicks team show up that loses it down the stretch and loses by 1 point a couple of times to the Hawks, and then we saw the one that blew them out by 51 points in Atlanta. That's the team that showed up in New York. Why is that? Where's the consistency? What are they building on right now?
I think the confidence. I mean, if you go back to the Atlanta series, them last 3 games, they came out ready to play. And I think being able to rest, in between that series and this series was a big key to that. But also the attention to details, right? Offensively, JB got it going in the first quarter, set the tone, which he always does. But defensively, they just was smothering Philadelphia 76ers, man. It was almost, we were sitting here watching it like, man, we can't believe what we're actually watching here, but the Knicks defense showed up. You can see here, you see how they shifting it. They shifting the court, they getting into passing lanes, they getting steals, kick ahead, OG, get the fast break layup, get the fast break dunk. Right here, KAT. KAT is usually back, right, in that drop coverage. But VJ is not coming off the 3 pulling that, so KAT got a chance to play in between that. And here, we getting back on the defense. Mikal Bridges, you're taught to get to the sprint to the middle of the court on the defensive drill. And he did that. Again, New York defense was phenomenal tonight. Everybody who played the game contributed to.
Right? They hit first. They had all the hits. But, I think with Philadelphia, obviously wasn't ready for the magnitude of what this game was in Game 1. And I mean, the score says that. But you still have Joel Embiid, right, healthy. He rested in his game. Actually, feature Joel Embiid a little bit more. For me, he did his job of getting those guys in foul trouble. It really didn't pay off for him because they didn't play no defense in this game. Defensively, they have to be a totally different team in terms of being aggressive and hitting with their physicality. We didn't see that because Brunson got whatever he wanted in this game.
I'll say it was a quick turnaround for him, so the game plan can't be as, sophisticated as they probably wanted it to be. It kind of had to, somewhat simple just to get them prepared. Now they have some film to kind of game plan, I think, for Game 2. The other thing is, I said it earlier and I'm going to say it again, you cannot allow Jalen Brunson to hide or to sit in the corner on the defensive end and then torch you on the offensive end. I think the one thing, and I said that first as far as game plan preparation, I don't think they had enough time to watch all the film versus the Atlanta Hawks that they need to prepare themselves how they want to play defensively. So, yes, I agree, play through Joel Embiid, but at the same time, you cannot let Jalen Brunson sit over there. You have to put him in actions to have to guard. He has to play both sides of the ball.
I thought Philly played too slow tonight. I thought they went through Joel and played through Joel too much tonight. And instead of picking their spots and letting the game build up, they started off the game going to Joel. Throughout the game, they was going to Joel. When they needed something, they stopped and they went to Joel. I don't think they was playing with a lot of pace today. For them to only score 98 points, we're going to take our hat off to the Knicks defense, but 98 points for this Philadelphia 76ers team is just unacceptable in Game 1, especially on the road.
And I think you pivot once you started to see them double Joel. So like now, let's go somewhere else. Yes, you did your job, but he started to turn the ball over. And I said, against Boston, Joel has been known to get turnovers on a double team when he's into his move, and that's when they double team.
Especially when you're tired.
Yes.
When you're tired, mentally you're tired. You know, you just came off a Game 7 win in Boston, and in 48 hours you got to prepare for the New York Knicks. Nah, you got to take a beat. You got to take a second to figure this out. But I think Philly would be better, a lot better in Game 2. I'm interested to see what adjustments the Knicks make, because after winning a game like this, you're going back like, what adjustments we need to make? Now it's on Philly to make the adjustments.
Right. But you said it before that Nick Nurse has that capability. One thing he can do is make adjustments on the fly, that mad scientist. Same thing, Quinn Snyder, we attributed to him with the Atlanta Hawks. So what are the adjustments that can be made ultimately?
For me, I think it's having actions to where you can get Maxey downhill, right? Because that's what he's great at, and getting him 2 feet in the paint with Joel Embiid lifted sometimes so that paint is wide open. Right now with Joel Embiid and him being down there kind of clogs it up a little bit, so he's kind of hesitant. And then if they're doing the pick and roll and that man is in the drop coverage, you got to be aggressive, getting to your spot and taking that 2-point shot. So it's a lot of things that Philly can do differently. We'll be interested to see what those adjustments are, but Maxey has to he and VJ have to get downhill and get out and transition and get those points. Like, they need easy baskets, because they were trying to work for everything in this game.
Particularly in the first quarter. We said Maxey can't have only 3-4 shots in the first quarter. He ended up with 8 for the half, 9 for the game.
It's not enough.
He's a superstar. And he needs to get touches. I agree. We have to get Joel Embiid the ball because he's a difference maker. But when things are stagnant, you have this young man who can get it done.
Yeah, and in the series just a season ago or 2 seasons ago, he was averaging about 29 points per game. So we know he can do it against the Knicks. And then in that case, then Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Maxey can cancel each other out a little bit. But we just didn't see those numbers.
It was too much. It was too much thrown at Philly today in a short period of time. They didn't have a chance to pivot from Boston to the Knicks. They didn't have enough time.
Travel baked into that 48 hours, just not a lot of time to turn around.
Long trip from Boston.
In Philly and New York. All right, tonight is just the start of the second round of the playoffs. Take an early look at tomorrow's line from DraftKings Sportsbook. In Game 1 between the Lakers and Thunder, Oklahoma City is favored by 15.5 points. Ooh, y'all.
Okay.
It's a big dog. I mean, he had a triple-double in the game, but ultimately Spurs get the loss. He's at the podium right now addressing the media.
Bittersweet game for you, Vic, with the unbelievable defensive performance, but then kind of subpar offensively. And
It's an affirmation. That's not a question.
What was just a bittersweet performance for you, I would think. I mean, that was one of the best defensive performances in playoff history. And then offensively, a little subpar performance. What can you do better offensively next time out?
Start by making some shots. Feel like know how to use my energy. You know, obviously used a lot of it on one side of the court, and on the other side, I used too much. Offensively, I used too much energy in things that didn't really help our team. So that's on me. But first thing, I'll start by making some shots.
Vic, we've been asking you for 3-4 months now about how you thought this team was going to react when it got into a close playoff game against this first time.
I think there was some good and some bad, and I think the bad was, as I said, not going to what we know. But I mean, it's a lot on me because obviously my game wasn't feeling good tonight, and that's where the team is going to look for me, you know. And you know, if I had been better, if the offensive leaders of our team had been better, it would have been different. So basically, if everything was different, it would have been different. Yeah.
Julian just talked about how one possession goes different, it's a different outcome. Can you talk about your confidence in you guys making adjustments as a team as you guys have all season long?
I mean, we're very confident. We're still very confident, and we were confident in what we were doing on the court. But honestly, I need to look at the film again to see a little bit more how the dynamics went, because right now it's a little bit blurry for me. You know, I think I played the last, I don't know, 16 minutes of the game, maybe, I don't know, and it just went by like this, and that's not good. It means I didn't have the grasp on the game that I wish I did. Grasp, right? I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. You talked about managing your energy before. Has managing energy become tougher as the playoffs go on? And what do you try to do throughout a game to be ready to take over late? That's when, you know, star players tend to really put their stamp on the game.
I think it's knowing when, you know, when to pass the ball, when to score, because it makes the job tougher on the defense to have to take care of everything. But and subject of the playoffs, I think obviously games are more physical, but there's no back-to-backs, and sometimes the 2 days in between games, so it's okay.
You know, Victor, you've been pretty open about how competitive you are and how much you kind of disliked how the other team may have been facing some injuries. And so when you heard the news Anthony was going to play, how, just as a competitor, did you want to have that matchup and have him out there for game one?
I mean, we approach the game the same way. It's the playoffs, so we got so many things to think about. You know, we're ready for anything.
What is it about the physicality of the defense that Minnesota was using that disrupted you guys getting into your sets and running what you guys wanted to run?
It was something we expected, and I said before, I would like to look at the game again to see what really was the main problem, because it's easy to know what see the symptoms of it, how it shows up on the stat sheets, on the scoreboard. But I look at the game again.
Vic, do you look at the fact that you and De'Aaron combined for just 21 and the fact that you would that's probably not going to happen again in this series, and so that's going to bode well for you guys going forward? Is there a silver lining here to as tough as this one might be?
Yeah, I don't know what a silver lining means, but yeah, of course, obviously we have to be better, and as I said, it shows up on the stat sheet, but we need to figure out before 48 hours what we can do better, and I got no doubt that we will. I mean, it's I trust us.
Thanks, Vic.
Thank you.
Yeah, Wemby.
Gonna have to get Wemby a
Yeah.
silver lining